their memories as well. They remember that. They remember the taste of victory if you're on Hurricane, and Davin will remember that taste of defeat, and he wants to change that here and now. And I think it's fair to say, all year long we've been backing Gigantti, saying these guys, they showed during Season 0 that they can be champions. And Davin, well, he's fought his way through everything, and we all want to see him do well. We want to see him get back to the final and reclaim that glory once again. But Hurricane, they've got their own arc to fight for here as well. They got relegated. That wasn't the part of the plan. That's not what they wanted to do. They fought their way back in, came through Trials back in Season 3. They themselves would love to have the wonder story of from Trials to the victors of Contenders. That would be a fantastic way to end the year out as champions in Season 1 and champions also in Season 3.
They're doing it. I'm getting Danid. He's got a sparkle in his eye. Element Mystic. They took on a page out of their book. They're putting Danid on his signature hero. We're going to see the Doomfist flavor of goats. We break out onto Command Center.
Very interested to see how he chooses to play this, because you can play it a few ways. You can play as a flanker, you can play with the main
He's
team.
already found Zuppe. What an introduction. Both supports taken out from Danid. And look at this fight roll over with British Hurricane. It's big. It's black. It's fantastical for Danid to come in.
It absolutely is, and getting both supports at the same time is exactly what you want. And again, there's two styles you can play. You play with the team and you threaten the Ryan in the front line when the barriers are down, or you go for these backline flanks. And well, Danid, who else could you want on your team if you want to be able to play this style of goats? We saw some Metro goats in the last series. We're seeing Doomfist goats right now, and I imagine later into next year we'll also see more of the same, or later this year I suppose you could say. But Gigantti have now got to adapt. This is the big problem. You've got to deal with Danid. It's not as simple as just stun him forehead. You have to actually do something about him before he has the opportunity to bring down a key member.
He's got onto the back line already, draws a lot of resources when he does that, and Milky Man not going to be the target this time as he's looking around the back line for the support. Rally being popped out. He's got the meteor strike. He might not even need it to take out Zuppe. He's going to use it to reposition close to the fight. He's central right on top of Zuppe's head. He's going to be taken off the field as Milky Man dies as well without the support. This is dominant from British Hurricane.
Danid just basically saying to Zuppe, oh, enjoy your time in Eldritch? Well, you're not going to enjoy your time here down in Contenders, because every single time he has got anywhere near the fight so far, Danid has been lurking. And you even saw Happy trying to play defender. He was lurking around himself, not other side, sorry. Zappis trying to play defender, the two Al duos together, but it just didn't pay off every single time. Danid has found a way to weasel himself in the backline and bring down that key Discord building member.
Hey, thing to note as well, Happy Cool, he's the one taking over Gigantti responsibilities. Graviton Surge calls him in. Lilbo, already been deleted. He goes down with the sound barrier. Transcendence will come up from Zuppe to keep the rest of Team Gigantti alive, but here's a sound barrier from British Hurricane. Level it out. Numlock, sitting on an ultimate, goes in. He wants the unassisted, the dry shatter onto Team Gigantti. He finds Milky Man, Zuppe, Facility being taken out as well. We're getting up into the upper echelons of percentage Des, and yet we're not able to see Gigantti capture the point.
Let's not forget how hard 1 point stomped Lijiang Tower in their series in the last series, and what that turned into a belter of a series going to 5 maps as well. So Gigantti, you can't write them off yet, but this is sheer dominance coming out of Hurricane so far with the way they're playing.
Finally, we see Danid stunned up, but he was unable to be taken off the field, so he's still going to roam around, and he's going for Zuppe.
So
caught unaware! Danid yet again on his signature hero, straight onto Lilbo again! Support after support! Can he get to third? Facility will tuck behind that shield, but he's put Gigantti on the back foot in the final fight. What a introduction to this series from British Hurricane.
British Hurricane, I like to call them Danid and friends, because every single fight started off there with him melting the backline in Gigantti. Oh, guys. 4 times in a row, Zuppe was alone, or at least with very minor support on the high ground. There was no Brigitte up there to protect him. There was no Zarya bubbles coming through. But this is the problem about trying to play goats, is if you split your attention, you turn towards one member, you will get crushed by the other 5 members of the team lurking on the low ground. So Hurricane, they forced Gigantti's attention to be divided. In Gigantti, they just didn't have a response. And let's not forget, these teams have not played each other since Season 1. I imagine Hurricane have even said, and Gigantti likewise have said, no scrims because we know we've got to play you. This is all fresh to Gigantti. They probably haven't dealt with this before.
Blink and you'll miss it. It's what it feels like in GOATs. You blink for 1 second, you're going to miss it. British Hurricane treating us to... It's reminiscent of Horizon from the last series, Des. We got Happy Cool on the Wrecking Ball, but Nesh, he's bringing out the Ash.
And this guy, if you remember him from back in Season 1, was one hell of a Widowmaker player. We haven't really seen him have too much time on snipers since then, since it's been a very GOAT-heavy meta. But back in Season 1, he really shone during his time even on Bazooka Puppy. So let's see what he can do with the Ash. We already saw what Hardest could do with it earlier on. Here's his chance to show what he's made of.
And Doomfist hiding up in the rafters, ready to prop down. No one to really commit to there. Wanted to go for potentially an environmental, but misses it out as HappyCool's going to dive in with him. So he's got a diving partner in this particular composition as they move round to the point for that first capture. HappyCool comes in, isolated Lilbo, going to be picked off here. Numlock going to be a lot of the damage through multiple members of the team to try and force through the choke, but Nesh standing point blank range, uses the coach gun to reposition. Numlock jumps in with the Goomba Scump onto the Davin, as Danid has already taken out Facility. Up in the air, Zappish just needs a shot. The seismic slam was there for Milky Man. They finally take out the Diva. First cap going over the British Hurricane.
We saw a comp very similar to this coming out in the last series as well, actually, where we had a more mobile DPS. We had the Hammond, we had the Winston coming together as well. Very much so this flying style of tanks, but you had two relatively immobile supports, or two members, sorry, when you're looking at the Ashe and the Zen. But because they're so long range, you leave the other four members to go and cause absolute chaos, and it's working wonders so far.
Nice stun there to deny Danid. He's not going to be able to be taken out. Repositioned close to his teammate. He's got the Meteor Strike available. Will throw the Rocket Fist for more damage. HappyCool getting into the fray. Rocket will take out Milky Man. Meteor Strike straight onto Zappe. Nothing he can do about it. Follows up onto Davin with the uppercut as Joffrey's going to get the D-Mech on Zappis, and Happy still rolling around, and he's got that minefield ready to go. Nesh threw out Bob somewhere, didn't catch him this time, maybe another.
You know, we were speaking about Element Mystic earlier, and Danid might not be Sparkle, but he's definitely putting a glint in my eye. This guy is popping off every single time. It doesn't matter if he gets stunned, and admittedly, maybe part of that is on Gigantti not getting the right focus down to bring him down when he is stunned and unable to move, but he's being enabled so much by the rest of his team. There's no Diva in sight, there's no bubbles coming out of Zarya, yet he is still living through all of these engagements.
Yeah, Danid with the uppercut to deny the mobility, and then he's going to reposition back onto his team. Sound barriers coming out from British Hurricane. They're about to get Transcendence online. Pocket's going to be able to use that. Danid again with those fists, knocking people around. Meteor Strikes on the point. There's not many options for Gigantti here, so they'll use that self-destruct. Bob taking out Zappis once he was out the mech. They did finally shut down Danid, so a big part of the damage is missing, and so is that Meteor Strike. Hurricane for now seem in control, but the Graviton is going to make them bend to the will of Team Gigantti. But Nesh has something to say about that. He's on the back line, moving forward, throws the bomb into the back line, hits that damage to come out on the dot, but it's the British Hurricane still in control of the point. Team Gigantti can't get in. Dan's back on the map with the Meteor Strike, will get taken out immediately. I think Gigantti have learned to pay him a little bit more respect, and they're going to focus him more. 99% kill feed still being traded. Zappe off the map. HappyCool finding a double on both of his supports. Zappis ends his reign of terror on his back line as Nesh comes off from the side. He gets the sound barrier. Boss nearly online. He needs to stay alive for 6 more percent. Numlock comes in with the sweep. And that is exactly what this map was.
A sweep for Hurricane. Oh boy, did not expect that coming into this, I won't lie. I expected a much closer first affair coming in. But Hurricane, with two very unique comps, they find their way through Gigantti, and Gigantti, this is what I was afraid of for these guys, is sometimes they've been a bit static in what they play. You're dealing with a probably the most flexible team we've got here in Contenders in terms of what Hurricane can play. They've just shown them you've got to adapt or you're going to die.
The reason I was pointing at the screen, by the way, was because Bob also shows up on the kind of hero circle, and he is Hurricane's 7th man in this matchup, and that's giving him a slight edge there, having Danid, though. What a player. What a hero.
The thing is, it's not just that, but when Gigantti do pay him attention, in that comp you just saw, you've got 2 or 3 dive heroes that as soon as you try and chase after him, and you burn your cooldowns, get in there like the Lucio speed boost to try and get Danid, you've got 2 huge tanks descending on you, they're CCing you, they're killing you. You just can't afford to chase him, but you can't afford to ignore him, so it's really pulling Gigantti apart, which, as we saw in the last series, is what the downfall of GOATs can be. So, I've got to say, for Hurricane, they keep this kind of stuff up. Gigantti are in trouble, but going at least into the future maps where it does become more payload-based or more attack and defend-based, Gigantti have a bit more opportunity there, I think, to not have to fight for a point. They can just stay as a unit and try and fight that way.
Hurricane have pushed the ball into Gigantti's court and said, your move. Can they answer the Danid conundrum? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders. We're in our second quarterfinal of the day. British Hurricane versus Team Gigantti, and it's Hurricane who lead the charge, taking that first map, Lijiang Tower, in a dominant fashion, and down it on the Doomfist. It's what everyone is going to be talking about.
What everyone's been waiting to see as well. There's a reason why you acquire the best Doomfist player in EU Contenders, and it's not to make him play everything except Doomfist, it's to let him play Doomfist.
Oh, hold on.
Make it work.
He wasn't playing everything apart from Doomfist. He was just...
No. This is what I mean. You don't acquire him to then say you play nothing but Doomfist. You've got to incorporate that somehow, and they found the answer with that comp. And again, they're not the only team that's been playing it. We saw it played in Korea with Element Mystic rolling that as well. Now, heading into Numbani, things may change up a little bit. He's not able to get to the high ground as easily, so it's been more of a thing as more of a standard sort of dive setup, or maybe we'll just see goats roll out. Depends what their flavor of the month is.
Yeah, when you have different levels of high ground, it's advantageous to have a slightly more consistently mobile hero in the form of Diva, which is, of course, what you lose when you have the Doomfist flavor of goats.
Or something like Ashe, potentially.
Ash's potential
We saw
to
that on
come
their
out
last
here.
map as well.
Absolutely. The world is the oyster for British Hurricane, or so it would appear after that first map. And now, I'm going to take you back to the Season 1 playoffs. We're going to do this quite a lot. First map was won by British Hurricane. Second map was also won by British Hurricane. So we could be repeating history if they go ahead and take Numbani. But of course, it was Team Gigantti's map pick. Maybe they have something special planned for us.
My heart can't take it. I'm pretty sure Davins can't. And well, it'd be a big moment of celebration for the guys in Hurricane if it did play out that way. But let's see how Gigantti respond. This is what I want to see out of these guys now. It's always been a criticism I've had of them, is that kind of lack of flexibility in the way to deal with what gets thrown at them. This is pretty stock and standard out of Hurricane, though. They're going for this dive setup where you have the Zarya still around. So it's still kind of a triple tank setup, or monkey goats, as we call it sometimes. You just have a lot more vertical mobility than what you do with something like the Reinhardt.
Absolutely, and that was the one thing we need to talk about Gigantti. You said that it's lack of flexibility, but often Gigantti don't need to flex, because what they do so well.
My only criticism of that is they haven't always won every single series they've been in decisively, and this fight here looks like it might be a bit different, because they are going to, not find the first kill. I thought they found it there, but it was actually the other way around.
But the health bars were going so low for Hurricane. They got the D-Mech, and finally Milky Man's going to go down to Bucket, who we often see him play Ana on this map. Instead, sticking with Zenyatta this time around, he's able to shred through Milky Man, who will go down first.
It's only because sometimes we used to see other members switch over and play the Zen themselves as well, so he could play the Ana. In this case here, if you're only going to have one of them, you want to keep that Lucio so you have the extra mobility. It makes sense to leave him on the Zen. That Discord Orb is just far too powerful.
Great tool. Milky Man feeling the hurt on that one. Stunned up, down. He's going to come back at him with the shield bash of his own. Tip for tap. As Happy Cool is going to be holding that high ground here. Is the primal rage from Numlock going down very low, but he's repositioned. Milky Man solo shatter onto him. I don't think that was the plan. And the Graviton Surge follow up. Zuppy comes in just in time with that Transcendence to keep everyone topped up. The self-destruct going to drop and hit the floor. Milky Man again being caught out, but Team Gigantti have got themselves a hold of Danid. Bocket getting a D-Mech onto Zappis. Hurricane moving around this point, keeping the fight mobile, which plays into their composition as they're just trying to put Gigantti on the back foot. And that's what they've done for now. They're able to keep him off the point, and they do retain control.
It's constantly rotating back and forth in terms of who's got what ultimate active, who's going to use the next one, for example. Now it's Zappis' turn coming out with the self-destructs.
Dan's moving back onto that Doomfist. I think it's more of a get onto the points. They have bodies, but Milky Man, Zappe, and the rest of Gigantti have already put British Hurricane to rest. This is going to be point A going over to them, and they're going to get this payload in motion.
I saw Danny see that E line up, and I was like, don't do it, Danny, don't do it, Danny. But he still went for the play and found himself getting picked off, and that is when you will get punished as Doomfist, is when all those abilities are down. Believe it or not, you're not very mobile, can't go very far.
Sticking with it, Happy Cool flexing over to the Brigitte, so they want to go back to this Doomfist Goat composition. Davin getting an elbow to the face, not going to lose much because that protective barrier. Numlock's going to play around this corner. They're going to be trying to force something out here with that Graviton Surge. Transcendence comes out early. Dan is on the back line, knocking up Milky Man and really bullying him this time around. Big Gigantti drop the Graviton of their own into the Transcendence. Danid outside of the shielding from his comrade. He will go down as Milky Man follows up with a charge into Happy Cool, and Numlock will drop as well. So the Doomfist Goats not working out as well for them on Numbani, as Gigantti are keeping the pedal to the metal.
The reason why they've kept hold of it is when it's worked so well on the first map for a start, and on these second points, Winston isn't really going to do so much for you when you're coming up against a standard Goats out of Team Gigantti. And this is always what it's boiled down to in Europe, is when you're playing Goats, that is not so much the uncountable comp, but it's the safest composition that you can pick. So for Gigantti to roll out with that, Hurricane's response is naturally going to be a Goat setup of their own. Had either been missing, maybe feeling it a bit here, that even a couple of those ultimates, it could have been a very different story.
Very dangerous for Gigantti. They actually left facility to push the points, so the Reinhardt was unguarded to any kind of shatter. It doesn't matter though, Zappis will take out Happy Cool on that Brigitte as they move around this final corner. Zappe getting harassed by Danid but not killed. The shatter landing right on top of him to shut down any mobility. Hurricanes haven't got the manpower to stay on this point. I think this second checkpoint's going over to Gigantti as they go into that final stretch.
I'll start having a few concerns here as well, because there has been a few fights in a row now they've lost, and Danid actually missed a free rocket punch into the backline on Zappe as well. He missed and hit the bus instead, and even with the armor all underneath on Zappe, as you can see, it's making him so much more tanky against this Hurricane lineup, whereas Gigantti never had the opportunity to build the armor last time round because they were losing fight after fight. Things have changed massively now, and I'm worried that with Hurricane staying on this Doomfist, it's going to cost them this map.
Dan's got a Graviton in his pocket, goes for that rocket punch, he's over the top, doesn't find any targets, got the Meteor Strike, but the rest of his team is locked up, gonna go in with the Meteor Strike, stunned up, can't get the kill, he's trying to use mobility, huge shatter from Numlock, puts Gigantti on their backs. There's not much British Hurricane can do about this one as they have to retreat now themselves. Bocket taking out Milky Man, they're missing the Reinhardt. Nesh again, they put up that grab to create a stagger as Team Gigantti wanted to retreat. They're gonna have some more time to set up a defense of their own.
They have a moment to breathe here as well, just kind of stem the flow as, well, for Gigantti so far, it's been pretty much all slaughtered this map. 3.5 minutes on the clock does mean they still have plenty of time to play with. And for Danny there in that time, he did find himself caught out in the middle again, but at least had the protection to keep himself alive with the barrier coming out of the Zarya. And there was no real focus out of Gigantti because Numlock, like you said, had a huge shatter that caught them out.
Taking the fight to the Milky Man push out of this tunnel, well away from the payload, so we're going to have some passive movement back. Nice shadow will only find Bocket on the back line, but the rest of Team British Hurricane forces themselves forward to deny it. Dan has been taken out by Lilbo. That's not how that interaction should work out, my friend. But Yofi's going to find Milky Man regardless, and they're pushing him all the way back to the spawn room. 2 minutes 50 on the clock, and Hurricane want to entrench themselves here.
They've got those two fights going back to back now, because now the favour kind of goes in their side. And in fact, Zappe managed to hold on to the armor coming out the back of that last fight as well. So Danny won't have such an easy time bringing him down, as we've already seen. But Gigantti, they're doing the right thing as well. Yes, they burnt 2 ults, but they've got 4 stacked up and online, ready to use. I'm looking towards Bocket here, because he got caught in the shatter last time and didn't have a chance to use the trans. Not that he needed to, but this time around, having that online is going to be the big difference maker if they keep their members alive.
Nesh needs to stay up here. He's got the Graviton Surge online, can't die to it. Danny taken out by Zappe. He's not having the best of luck, and Zappis finds a double kill onto Nesh and Numlock, and the rest of Gigantti push forward again. They've broken the chokehold, and they're on the final corner as they're pushing this payload to completion.
on that final stretch now, like you say, and they only had to use 2 ultimates. They've done the right thing here on holding on to both support ultimates, and they can use those for these final fights. Hurricane have got a few ults coming online themselves and looking towards Nesh with that Graviton Surge to make a big play here to keep the dream alive.
Rocket Punch pushes them forward, Graviton Surge into the Transcendent. Danit now has the Meteor Strike online, will follow up with a delayed or staggered Space Jam. Unable to make it happen, and Davin's going to burn through him with the high energy under his belt, moving towards another Graviton Surge. It's going to be taken out by Happy Cool. Yofi takes out Milky Man. British Hurricane take back control of the point, 3.62 meters away from completion.
Almost taking out Lilbo as well, not too bad. Like I say, 1 minute and 20 on the clock as well. So for Gigantti, they want to at least end this with something left in the banks. They do get a second attempt, but if they can be held all the way into overtime or not complete it all, Hurricane find themselves in the spot to continue the story as it was last time and take away the 2-0 at the half. Well, not really a half at this point, is it? It can be far longer.
It definitely can be far longer. 1 minute 5 on the clock. Numlock's got that Earth Shatter. Milky Man can't match him because there's a lot of things that could deny that powerful ultimate from the Reinhardt. So he's got to be careful about how he plays around this one. Happy Cool can sweep him for the stun, tries to get it off, but the shielding is there to keep them all up. Danit moves around again, gets himself out of the Graviton Surge, and luckily Bocket comes in. It's like a revolving door, and the healing will keep them all up. This facility finds Yofi, Nesh is going down, Hurricane, they're losing too many members. Danit really needs to get a pick here. Zappe gonna feel the hurt, but Zappis will take him back out. Numlock now under fire, Milky Man swinging that hammer. Supports are exposed on the back line. They're about to finish this one. Happy Cool has to delay. They're sending Yofi back out as well to get on the point. There's gonna be Nesh as well. He's got protective barriers from the teammates, but I don't see Hurricane turning this one back around. There's too much control in favor of Gigantti.
We're down to about 20 seconds then, so not the end of the world for Gigantti. It does mean at least they guarantee themselves a second opportunity should Hurricane complete the map. But it's good how things are working out for them, and you saw there finally, Danit, it feels like that was the first fight in about 10 where he managed to get in the backline and actually bring the supports down. The difference is this time around, it's not quite the same as we saw on Command Center. He's not getting those kills particularly quickly. He's having to commit a lot of things for them. So Gigantti, they can turn around, melt him down and turn back and continue fighting. It almost feels like the front line of Hurricane are too scared to push forward until they see him fill the kill feed. By then, though, it's already too late to join the party.
Yeah, part of the benefit of having the Doomfist is you just split the attention, right? You can either choose to, you can brute force a Reinhardt, go in the front with your team, or you can go on the back line and draw resources away for the Reinhardt for your team to capitalize on. And I don't think that's happening right now. I don't think that they quite got a grip on the timings here. I think that's the biggest problem. They don't, it's not as if they don't know what to do, it's when they're doing it that's creating some problems for them.
Yeah, I mean, on the first map as well, you found those picks pretty much immediately. And like I said, the fact that it's slower is affecting those timings. Maybe that's what Hurricane are looking to iron out here to fine-tune, you might say, as we head into the next piece of the map. I don't imagine we're going to see quadruple DPS coming out here, so don't get too excited.
Team Gigantti, they're not going to break from the usual pattern. They're going to go on for a standard GOATS composition. It's what they are good at. And why deviate from something that typically finds you great levels of success?
And again, it's also the safest comp that you can start a map off with. If you're not sure what the enemy team are going to throw at you, which often you aren't on maps like Numbani, where you've got a first point to hold, they can go back and change their comp as many times as they want to bring at you the strongest they can give. It's always safe to go with GOATS just to at least lead things off.
The break open the door. Who's going on to what? Just some occasional scouting. I'd like to see what Hurricane are going to roll out the gate with after they've done their initial check. What Gigantti are going to be offering for them. So Happy Cool going over to the Pharaoh. We've seen him play this a lot in previous seasons, especially when he used to play triple DPS on Iconvold, was a staple of British Hurricane, but they're still rolling out with triple DPS here. Nesh going onto the Sombra, Danit on Doomfist, Happy on the Pharah, as Numlock already on the point.
Because Happy used to really like playing on to that Hammond as well, but it's Numlock on tank duty here while Happy gets to take to the skies with that rocket launcher and do some damage of his own. And this is the aim here for triple DPS, is to either build up long enough that an EMP comes through, or you find a pick with Happy and Danit. Nesh already going down almost there, down to about 10 HP at the very end.
Difficult. What do Team Gigantti do when they have to split their attention so much? There's so many routes of ingress coming from British Hurricane as they're finding all these angles, and they're starting to get the picks. David being taken up by a rocket punch, and Milky Man's going to go down to the machine pistol from Sombra. There's the D-Mech going to kill for Happy Cool. Hurricane have got control at this point.
And this is what you're going to see a lot more of as the year goes by, ladies and gents, it feels like. But Hurricane have always been one of those teams to not so much exploit, but use triple DPS against these teams that are playing very heavy tank. And as you were saying, it's all about that split. You've got Nesh on one side with the Sombra, you've got the Pharah on the other side, and then Danit is lurking around trying to find a target. You've got to deal with one of them, but they're just too quick to get away from you.
First of all, how do you even track Nesh when he can just go perma-invisible? Honestly, you don't know the angle he's going to attack from. Danit can leap across the map in one ability. Happy Cool's up in the air somewhere. They're not making it easy for Gigantti.
At least now having Davin on side. Oh, the EP comes straight through though.
Immediate reposition for Happy Cool with that barrage. Not successful for him. Davin will take out Zappe, and Milkyman's going to drop, but Zappe's got 2 out of 3 DPS by himself. It's a good reward there. Nice return on investment. Davin now flexing over to the McCree as he goes for Yofi for Zappis to then finish off after that initial burst came out.
Yeah, they've got a few changes coming through here to try and deal with it. It's not quite super McCree, but I'm pretty sure it will do for now. Davin going to finally show what he can do with some DPS as well. Has been kind of restricted to Zarya, it feels, for most of this year, but like I say, getting the chance to show what you're made of on McCree, on things like Widowmaker as well, can really help.
This can be problematic though. You do have the flashbang, CC for Davin to use in this next fight to shut down Danid. You don't have the protective barriers to protect his targets. He will shut down Danid, but already they've lost Milkyman and Zappis in this fight. Davin needs to pop off here, otherwise they're going to lose this one and go back even further. Protective barrier blocking the shot, still threads the needle to find Nesh. He's sitting on that high noon, he's going to pop it, can't then move forward. Stand up, won't block it all, it's Happy Cool. Will get taken out as he face tanks that bullet from the revolver. They're going to move forward again, sitting in the Transcendence facility, taking the fight to Numlock. It started off shaking for Gigantti. They've broken away from their usual mold, but they're still able to put up the fight.
Davin just rolling on through most of the team there as well with this McCree. I gotta say, Hurricane, Danid especially, his engages on the Doomfist are a bit readable now. I think when you're coming at them from basically head on, you're making it very easy to go, okay, kill Doomfist, then deal with the tanks that are charging at us and arrive 2 seconds later. I'd rather wait for him to be able to go in after they've already engaged.
Shatter committed, unable to get a kill from it. Zappis comes from the side to take out Numlock. Happy Cool's in the front line, going to stun it up. Danid already taken out. Zappe again onto Happy Cool. British Hurricane really struggling to get around this first corner, and Davin's got himself another high noon for the next fight. He wants to buy some time or zone away some of Hurricane's members.
Holding on again and again. Gigantti, that's the 3rd fight in a row now. They've managed to hold Hurricane at bay here, just around the corner of this first second point. And it feels tough. I think Davin just being on this McCree alone is doing a lot to shut them down because they're trying to aggress on him. Danny's being stunned up. Even after he's gone, they're able to stun up that Reinhardt for even longer and make sure he can get melted.
Dofi, you can't be rowing away from that shield there. You're really under fire from this McCree with those headshots. Sound barrier being committed by Hurricane before they've even gone in. Danny goes to the backline. You saw what happened. Davin just shuts him down. Sitting on the high noon, shield to cover up the rest of Hurricane, but it does force them back and killing momentum. Stunned up Numlock, will get his shield back online. Not enough shots got in that brief window he created for himself. Graviton Surge, only finding Zappe. Davin Zap is finally being pulled together. It's better to sit in that Transcendence. And now it's time for British Hurricanes. Bocket bringing it out as they force him, but Zappis is still on the cart. Finally, Davin will be shut down by Dan as he pushes Milkyman all the way back. Has a Meteor Strike to get himself out of trouble if he needs it. It's valuable to have, but they need to move him away from the point. He's still got 2 members looking around it. Lilbo, and finally Zappis. British Hurricane get the payload back on the move.
It was a bit of a weird Graviton Surge coming out of Nesh, but Zappe kind of took the bait and popped the trans as well, despite, I think, no one being caught inside it, or even just one person was in there.
Our eyes did deceive us because the camera view didn't actually show us a couple that were pulled into it already. I saw
one in there, I think, and then Zappe joined them in there to keep them alive, and I was like, they just lost a member, and there's no real follow-up here, but the fact they used the trans meant that Hurricane could wait, then use theirs and go aggressive, and they finally managed to get some focus down. They've done it again here onto Milkyman. Last time around it was Facility. At least now they're starting to find some focus on these targets.
Meteor Strike on the point as well, just to clear off Lilbo. That was great target prioritization from British Hurricane. They all inserted their damage into Milkyman after the stun came out from Happy Cool. Great coordination there to pick up a kill so quickly.
That's what they were lacking on the second point, I felt, because they were not sure whether they had to dive onto Davin and deal with him. So Danny was just throwing himself in the back and trying to cause what chaos he could, which wasn't really a lot. They always need to have a handle on him. And Gigantti acknowledged this and going to keep right. They're trying to find good targets now. We need to start stepping this back a bit more. Let's go back to Davin on the Zarya.
Now she's got the Graviton Surge, pushing forward towards the stairs. Milkyman again isolated and killed off by British Hurricane. Nesh again onto Facility. They're dropping with ultimates. The Earth Shatter's been removed. Zappe has a Transcendence, but the fight's already lost. He's going to have to save it. But it's home stretch that Hurricane are now planting themselves onto. Double support ultimates and the Shatter available for Hurricane. It's looking risky for Gigantti.
And the reason they're winning so many of these fights, all that armor stacked up as well underneath those shields on the side of Hurricane from the ultimate from Happy earlier on. One more fight to win is all it takes.
Through the payload, unable to find anyone. The shielding was good for Milkyman to keep him up, but the Transcendences are being traded. Zappe's put himself out now. Bok is going to use his Graviton Surge, pulls them all together, but they're being obliterated. Nice. The bomb is good from Zappis. Going to take out 2 of the tanks. Gigantti regain control. 1 minute 40, 0.9 meters. One fight should seal the deal.
Hurricane can play this really safe here, I think, and go for a couple more fights, try and build up some ults and get Neshes online and go for the Space Jam like we spoke about earlier on. That's the prime opportunity. That's the win condition they're playing towards here. I'd hate to see them just start expending ultimates as and when they come online. And for Gigantti, well, Milkyman's not too far off that shutter. That's going to be the combo they need to clear this out, get some more ult charge on the supports, and hold this out all the way to that timer hit 0.
Zappe under fire. Rest of the team peeling around him. Meteor Strike still committing to Zappe rather than getting out. Just a little bit more damage. Oh, he's so close, but the armor pack being used. Hurricane now know that. If they go onto someone on the front line and tear through them, might get away. They're going to use the sound barrier instead to keep him up. Milkman still went down. No one to block the shatter. Facility goes down. He's the target for them. They won't go for Davin as Facility. He's dropped. There's D-Mech onto Zappis. Still a little bit more to go because they're playing right outside the spawn room. Milkyman comes out with the shatter and they're going to pull him together. Bot needs to come in. He's going to commit to it this fight. They want to do it now. Davin throws in the grab, goes down beforehand, but it's sitting in the Transcendence until Danin gets taken out by Milkyman's Flame Strike. Zappis, Milkyman again. They're going to turn it back around. 29 seconds remaining. They can do it if they're very fast here, Des.
Of course, that Spec Defender spawn advantage coming in huge for Gigantti there as well. They hold on once again. It means one more fight coming out for Hurricane, and the only thing they've really got to play with is 2 support ultimates looking towards that rally and the sound barrier. On the other side though, Zappis has got the opportunity to level this out for half-time with huge self-destructs.
Got the sound barrier. Danin, if he jumps onto the point, he's going to walk straight into Facility, who's got the shield bash. It's not what he wants, but they get there for the touch. People are going down low. Danin's already gone down. Sound barrier comes out too late. Self-destruct. Drop on top of the point. Here's the fight, though. It's going to play out anyway. They have to commit to this one. Yofi taking out Milkyman. He's done that so many times this game. But Zappis will take out Numlock. So they traded Reinhardt for Reinhardt. Danin's back up. He can get there fast. He's on one of the most mobile heroes in the game. But Hurricane, they're hemorrhaging too fast. They can't stay on the point. And Danin's gone back to the spawn room as quickly as he got back to the point. Team Gigantti are going to win out Numbani.
Well, taking it to 1-1 at the half. It's exactly the kind of clash we wanted to see. Real question is, how does this go the same way as the last series where we see that first map result ultimately doesn't mean too much to the rest of the series, but it's exactly everything we wanted. Like I say, a very nice close series, and it looks like Gigantti, for all I said after that first map, they found the answer to down on that Doomfist, and it's just kill him as he comes in. It's as simple as that. Adaptations
and iterations, it's what you need to do fast, not only in this series, but across the playoffs, because we're going to, of course, have matches days after days, back to back. It's going to be one hell of a ride, Des, and we're going to take it over to our analyst desk, put a pause on that just for now.